It's another original BW Sports 1 production.
Pew pew!
What is good in the hood, everybody? You already know what goes down. Y'all already know how your boy was coming today. Y'all knew. Y'all knew what we were going to do today. Y'all knew. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to be cool about it. I'm not going to be one of those kind of people. I'm going to be exactly one of those kind of people. Go blue, held to the victor's valiant. Whatever you want to look at it, however you want to look at it. It has been said, it has been written, it has been done. Business is finished. But until I get to that, welcome back. This is the Dukes of Football, and this is your man's TheOne representing BW Sports 1. What is happening? I hope everybody's new year is going a-okay thus far. As you can see, my new year started off quite well. First off, we're going to say congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. You know how it is. So, congratulations to that. And the other good thing that happened for me in these last few football weeks is once again, Mike Tomlin has done the impossible and has gotten us to above 500, which was his 17th straight season. And plus, on top of that, we make the playoffs. Beat Baltimore twice. We swept them. So, yes, you can throw an asterisk on that last game because nobody played. But guess what? It didn't matter. We won the game. So, when you look at the standings and it says Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 0, it doesn't matter if Lamar and everybody else, set out. So, there you have it. So, congratulations on that. So, that was awful exciting. It was also exciting. The result didn't come out to what we would have liked for it to have been, being the wife and I had got, well, actually not the wife and I, the wife had got door prizes at the Christmas, the holiday Christmas employee. What is it called? The job Christmas, Christmas party at the job. She won door prizes, so we got to go to the Colts game, the final game of the season, and we kicked it in the suite. So that was kind of cool. Didn't get the result that we wanted. The Colts did lose to the Texans, which got them into the playoffs. So obviously that was a down moment. They had an opportunity to win the game. We'll talk about it a little later on, but they had an opportunity. But it was fun. It was cool. Obviously, I hadn't been in the suites before in that particular building. I have been in whatever the hell the Pacers play in now. I think it's Cambridge. That's it. So I have been in those suites, but I have not been in Lucas Oil. So that was cool. Another cool thing about that, if you're in Indy, you've been to Lucas Oil, some of the parking garages are outrageous. So there's this one particular parking garage on Washington Street, in between Maryland and Washington Street. Most of you people know, I think it's across the street from, obviously it's adjacent to the Marriott and the Victory Field where the Indians play. So we rolling up, we getting the cards out, trying to see who can get each card out first, hers or mine. So we have to pay these prices, but I'm doing a little better on my leg, but it's still a long distance to walk. So he's trying to whatever, we'll pay it. So as we're going in, the dude who lets us in, bless his heart, he sees the license plate and then he sees our get up because I was being respectful. Because y'all know me. Normally, when I go to Coast game, I'm dipped in Steeler gears no matter what. But since this was the wife's job thing with the suite, so I thought I'd be respectful. So I was, naturally, we played the national championship game the next day. So I'm over here, niced up, Michigan up. So dude sees it. He's like, oh, y'all Michigan fans. Here's your ticket. Gotta go on in. So we didn't have to pay that $25 ticket. So that was an awesome bonus. But the trade off is when we came out the game, we had to sit in the parking garage for 45 minutes waiting to get out the parking garage. But fair change in the robbery. So it was pretty awesome. So that was the exciting news in the ones thing going on. So I guess it's time to talk about some football. Holy moly, what a weekend, a couple weeks. Didn't get on last week to talk about the CFP semifinal games, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, Alabama, Michigan, Texas, Washington. So both of those games were pretty exciting, kind of went down how most people didn't expect. Even though Michigan did have I think it was a 4-point odds favored in Vegas in the Rose Bowl of Alabama. It was a dominant showing over the great. Let's see, I'm supposed to be switching some things here. There we go. So a great showing in the Rose Bowl, dominance on the defensive side of the ball, making it very difficult for Alabama to do anything positive. So it was a good showing there. Jumped over a hurdle that has plagued Jim Harbaugh since he has been there. No bowl wins, and although the story or whatever like that. So they take care of business there. Creates the narrative of the what do you have to say now? Who answered all the questions. So then you flip over to the Sugar Bowl, another excellent game that came down to the wire where Washington and Texas go a great showing. What else do I have to say before that? Before I jump into some news that happened just, less than 2 hours ago. So yeah, good game. Came down to the wire. Michael Penix showed why he was the runner-up, or who in most people's eyes thought should have been the Heisman Trophy winner anyway. So that was a good game, which gave us a great matchup of strengths on either side of the ball. So you had your number one seed in Michigan, who has done everything that was asked all year, beat whoever came up. You talked about their schedule with the Bowling Greens and the UNLVs and the whatever. You play who you're scheduled. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame the kids for doing what they do, so they take care of those. So you get to the difficult games, and then you take away the coach. And then so they beat Penn State on the road. You beat a quality Maryland team who, by the way, won their bowl game against the SEC team. I'll get into that here in a second as well. So you had the Maryland game, and then you had the Ohio State game. All three of those games without their coach. Granted, the Ohio State game was in the big house, but doesn't matter. You took the win. You go to the Big Ten championship. You beat a top 10 defense in Iowa, knowing they can't score the ball, but they can't stop you from scoring, so you take care of that. More questions you get with can't beat anybody. You got the great Nick Saban, who is retiring. Came out, less than 2 hours ago. What was he at? 7 national champions, 6 at Alabama, 1 at LSU. Rejuvenated a very terrible LSU team, brought them back to prominence, won the national championship. They won 2 as a school since he's left, and left something started there. I first remember seeing Nick Saban at Michigan State. Being a Michigan guy, we've seen quite a bit of Nick Saban. Did give the NFL a shot, figured out it wasn't for him with the Miami Dolphins, and then he gets back, and that's where he ends up with the the Alabama, and then history goes from there. Won 6 national championships back to back. A Heisman Trophy winner, countless first round draft picks, countless number one picks. The dude is whatever it is that you want to call coaching in college football. He's it. But we take out the great Nick Saban. Jim Harbaugh basically outcoached him and Sharon Moore. So, so basically, you could really say that Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh, they all sent Nick Saban's home, sitting retired. We retired Saban. My wrestling people will love this. This is a retirement match. We retired him. He's got to go down. So, so it sets up a good match between strong defense. The defense has only given up, less than 10 points. I think it was 10.4 points a game. The last time a Michigan team gave up that type of defense was 97 with Charles Woodson in that defense. They gave up 9.7 yards per game. They won a national championship. Should have been outright, but the old man, Tom Osborne, bless his soul, was retired in Nebraska. They went undefeated, so they had to split the national championship, which you have, if you know your college football. That next year in '98 is when the BCS Bowl Series began. So that particular championship controversy started the BCS. So we get to that. So as I mentioned earlier, Nick Saban is retiring from Alabama. There was already coaching carousels and anything like that going on, but it's really getting ready to get exciting. You know, it's, who are you going to think that's going to take this opportunity to jump into one of the most historic franchise, second most wins, behind Michigan and anything like that? Who's going to jump into that? There's a couple names, a name popped up. Like if I'm just talking here, folks. I know a name popped up. If Jim Harbaugh was to go ahead and jump and go to the NFL, naturally I would assume that Sharon Moore would take that position. But you know how politics are in the universities and the upper class decision makers when it comes to minorities getting some of these jobs. Like Michigan is, I love it to death, but we'll see if they're ready to make that transition. We've had it in basketball with Juwan Howard, but we'll see. The football program is a little different there. Those alumnus, those boosters, that money goes a long way. But I don't want to stir a pot or anything like that, but naturally I think it'll be him or even Mentor. But I know Washington's coach name had come up, maybe seeking that. If Ryan Day was to slide away somehow, some significant way, his name came up again with that job. They kind of pushing away from the Urban Meyer thing. But now that Nick Saban goes, I think that Washington game, the Washington DeBow, I think is what his name is. I think he becomes a high commodity. Dan was fooling around in our text line. There's no way that Jim Harbaugh goes to Alabama. I understand it was a joke, whatever, but there's no way. But that would turn the internet upside down, like inside out. It'll be bigger than Cat Williams' storyline, but I don't see it. I think if Jim leaves Michigan, he is going to go to the NFL. Best possible situation you would think would probably be the Chargers. I got Justin Herbert. But if Jim gets one of those coaching jobs that's in that top 4, top 5 picks in the draft, don't be surprised if he jumps a lot of those quarterbacks and goes and gets his guy. You look at it, be kind of funny about it. But what if Jim does get one of those jobs? What if he, per se, gets the Chicago job? Why wouldn't he trade? I mean, I could see him trading off Justin Fields or some type of way to get and somehow dealing with that first pick and just going to get his guy, J.J. McCarthy. He's had him for 3 years. Why not, keep it going? It's just a suggestion. So, but if you look at that Alabama job going back down there, I mean, people would naturally go to Kirby Smart, because he came from that coaching program. But you got to go as deeper there for Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart was a Georgia guy. He went back to coach his alma mater, and he's won 2 national championships with Georgia. I don't see him jumping ship and going to pretty much his thorn in the side going over to Alabama. That's almost like, throwing up the white flag of your program. So I completely see it not being Kirby Smart. Same situation with Texas coach. I know he's an Alabama, one of Saban's proteges as well, but he's built a nice thing going on in Texas, and he's headed into the SEC. So I see him staying Sarkisian. I think he's staying where he is. I like what he's just on the cups. I think they need to figure out. Me personally, I think Texas need to figure out what they're going to do with their quarterback. Is it going to be Archie Manning? I think this dude has been very hyped up. Is there something going on behind those numbers that we haven't seen that keeps Archie off the field? So we're going to see what happens with that here in the spring ball and coming up to the next season with that. So the next name that you would think to come in to fill that Nick Saban spot would probably be Lane Kiffin. I despise Lane Kiffin. You know what I mean? And I'm not a big fan of Alabama. But if you say if Lane Kiffin goes back to Alabama, I think this will be the third trip. If this time he'd be the head coach, I would really, 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 really. I'm almost to the point of the OSU type situation. Like I would hate them. Well, okay, I don't use the word hate. That's such a strong word. I would strongly dislike them in an equal manner. So I hope that's not what they do. But this is going to be a tricky job to follow Nick Saban. That's like following Bob Knight at IU or Mike Krzyzewski at Duke or Dean Smith. You know how difficult it was for the coaches to come after Dean Smith. You know it was difficult until after Roy Williams, really. It was Dean Smith, Roy Williams, and after that it became difficult for them to find coaches to, even before Roy Williams, because you had, what was it, Snyder? And then somebody else, another dude in between there that didn't really produce like Dean, and then Roy left Kansas and went back home. So sort of kind of like that. So man, it's going to be interesting. I'd like to see who does it because it's going to be difficult to fill those kind of shoes. You know what I mean? The dude won, like I said earlier, 6 national championships in the, what is it, crimson and white, whatever their colors are. But, it's going to be difficult. But if you like football, I might not have been a great fan of Alabama, but if you like football, it was a pleasure watching this semi-pro team at points of his career there at Alabama. So I'm anxious to see who takes that job. I really think there's going to be a lot of moving pieces in the college world now that job is opening. I know people are waiting on to see what Jim Harbaugh is going to do. Is he going to leave the national championship program that he's built from basically the all or nothings? I know. I heard it talked about. Me and my boy Chuck talked about it a couple years ago about the arrogance of Michigan, and we hadn't done anything that's noteworthy arrogant. And they were talking about it the other day when I was watching some stuff on, some of the different podcasts and all the kind of stuff I was watching. But yeah, you got to look at it. Michigan hadn't had an outright national championship since 1948. You know how we put Bo Schembechler up on that pedestal of greatness, but if you realize, Bo Schembechler never won a national championship. Our last championship, I guess you could say, it was in 1997 when Charles Woodson, Greasy, Brady was on the bench. You could look at that and say a championship, but it was halved. It was split. It was the year before the Bowl Championship Series began. It was that 1997 year with the split of Nebraska with Coach Tom Osborne being, I think Frost was the quarterback, maybe. So no, it wasn't Tommy Frazier yet when Tommy Frazier, was touched by every person on the defense twice, and he broke all the records, all the tackles going to the touchdown for Nebraska. It wasn't then. But it was that time. But in between that, we haven't done really anything, of significance in the later part of the century, or the beginning part of this one. We got to a point where we have Rich Rodriguez and Brady Hope, where the whole Michigan fabric was just demolished and terrible. We were getting spanked by, 1AA schools. We were getting beat by little brother. We were getting embarrassed by Ohio State until Harbaugh came back, who had a true meaning of what the Michigan man program was. Not to say it was easy for him. He had difficulties, 0-6 with Ohio State. At some point, he was 1-4 with Michigan State. You were looking pretty bad. You get to the COVID year. It was almost like you ran from Ohio State that year. Everybody, you can't blame illnesses on stuff, but it looked kind of funny when it came to look up, and I want to disagree to that. But I think, and then at that point, he took a pay cut. He took a pay cut because he wasn't looking good. It was like getting ready to be forced back to the NFL because it wasn't looking good. But the university stuck around, took a little money from him. And he made some decisions. He got rid of longtime defensive coach Don Brown. You know how much we love Don Brown because of the physicality, but he brought on defense. But it wasn't working. So what he had to restructure and rebuild his team. So what he had to do is he had to build a team that was built to beat Ohio State. And that's what he did. He was a team that was built because Ohio State was a Pac-12 SEC team inside the physical Big Ten conference. They had big uglies up front, but they also had the spread out 3 wide receiver type of game. So that's what he built his defense. He went and got defensive guys from his brother in Baltimore, and they built a thing over the last 3 or 4 years. And the last 3 years are 40-3, 27-1 in conference play. 3 playoff appearances and 1 national championship. 3 years. The turnaround. Hired the NFL guys, changed the mindset, brought back the actual culture of what he was trying to do. So if he leaves, I'm all power to him. Good luck. Everybody is wanting to be one of that few select groups who have won a national championship and won a Super Bowl. There's been 3 of them. Pete Carroll, who was just forced out department. No, that's not it. Equal separation. That was it. We chose to go equitable separation, whatever the hell the word is. You know what I'm looking for. I'm not a English major, so I'm going to say some crazy shit. But anyway, Pete Carroll, Barry Switzer, Barry Switzer, and Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson was Miami, if you was not aware. Barry Switzer was Oklahoma. Both of those 2 coaches were the Cowboys. Pete Carroll was USC and Seattle, but he is looking to be that. He was close, so but should be fun. And that is nothing. I was supposed to be watching the game, but I forgot to turn it on. So I'm talking to you guys now, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's all I had to say on that. I don't want to keep making y'all look over this greatness that I'm just going to keep showing you. National champions. There it goes. Like, the storyline is what can you say? We talk about the cheating scandal, but it wasn't this year's team who was involved in all those things. That was the previous year if you weren't looking at the documentations of the things that they were showing you. But there's going to be more to come out of that, and it's going to probably be in the favor of the Wolverines, just to give you guys a heads up. But through all of that, once it came out, everybody was like, well, you already play a shitty schedule, and now you've been cheating, you're doing all this spying and everything on something that everybody else does. Now you can see that the NCAA and the Big Ten are now investigating Ohio State for doing the same thing that they were bitching about in Michigan, who they also corroborated with Purdue to give film to Iowa in the Big Ten tournament game. So it's crazy how this all works around, and it always comes out back to you. So I forgot what I was talking about. It's going to be great for all these people with this narrative that, what can you say now? At this point, after the allegation came out, you beat number 9 ranked team, strong Big Ten team who won their bowl game against a SEC team. Then you finish with your rival who was number one at the time in the CFP playoff rankings. You take them down. You beat a stout Iowa team in the Big Ten championship. 3 of those games without your coach. So there's not really how much they can say. Then you get the matchup that everybody wants to see who's the big dog, the Big Ten or the SEC. You see what happened. They totally dismantled. That was the cool. And what was it? Where's here we go. What is this? Let me look at this. Switch over here real quick. The Elite Performer brought to you by Elite Performance, where the dream of fitness and reality becomes reality. Call Zach over 765-499-1005 and start your journey to be elite today. That brings us to the Elite Performer. I'm giving it to the Michigan Wolverines. And why? Obviously, they won a national championship. And why? Because I'm a Michigan Wolverine fan. And why? Because of the total dominance of what they displayed of 2 of the premier conferences in college football. One, the SEC, who everybody has hailed as the greatest football conference of all eternity. And then the Pac-12, who was finishing their conference demise in a strong fitting. Pac-12 sent, what, where is it at? Pac-12 sent, 9 teams to bowl games? Out of their 12 games, they sent 9 teams to bowl games. They went 5-4 in bowl games, 55% for their conference on their way out the door. So you beat 2 quality teams. You beat 2 top 5 teams. 2 teams have been highly ranked all year. 1 undefeated, 1 hailed as the greatest of all time, and you took them out. Which made it so cool about it was the different styles that the defense did it. You did it in a very aggressive manner against a young guy, Milroe with Alabama, who couldn't adjust sight vision wise to pick off the things that he needed to do to combat that. And then it just came to be a breakdown. And then you switched it all up when you went against the very seasoned Michael Penix that you've already seen twice before, 3 times before at IU. So you kind of knew what he was working with. So, and they changed the strategy. At that point, they did it exactly how they were built. They were built to beat a team just like that. Washington is basically Ohio State in the Pac-12 or out west. Same thing. You know what I mean? Aggressive quarterback, aggressive trio of wide receivers. So what they did a classic NFL move with their defensive structure. I mean, their NFL structure on defense. You take away what you do best, and then make you have to do what you do worse. And that's what they did to both of those teams. It is completely a dominant factor. What was my Beast Within, brought to you by Beast Sports. Check out our new designs and the announcements over at BWSPORTS1. If you check on the page, you can check him out doing his thing with the new designs. I've seen some of them. It look pretty sweet. Go check him out. Beast Within, I had to give it to Blake Horn and Donovan Edwards. Both of these guys displayed great testicular fortitude coming in a national championship game to set the tone early, and it was hard for Washington to combat that. Both of those guys went over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns apiece. Last team to do that was nobody. They was the first to do it. So there you have it with that. So those are those. So then I go back into whatever I was saying, which was absolutely who know? Oh, we were talking about the conferences before I switch out of here. I just want to keep showing that for a while. Switch out for the conference bowl game records. Pac-12 5-4, Big 12 5-4, 6-4, and the national championship. The matchup up between the Big Ten and the SEC, I think it was 500 split. I think them even. Let's see who else did good. The ACC, 5-6. So there you have it for the conferences and things. All right, so let's actually move on from college football. Again, congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines national championship. Who has it better than us? Nobody. As Blake Corum would say, business is finished. All right, so that means it is time to move on to the NFL. Good ending week for the NFL. You had the last couple teams fighting to get those wild cards or division titles settled. I haven't really dove too much in. I don't know what. I do know what the uproar with Jameis Winston is about. I did check that out. I haven't really made a decision on it. I mean, I get the sentiment, but you know what I mean, that's the type of stuff to get people hurt. You know how some linemen and defensive players or football players are prideful, and you can get somebody hurt. They can start some problems. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that one yet. Maybe I'll talk about it in a short take. I don't know, but it was a good week of football. Texans and Houston, that was a good game. We were there. It was pretty fun watching that game. There was an opportunity for the coach to get that W. I questioned. I had a couple questions during the game, but at the end of the game, sequence of play calls and personnel groupings, I questioned a lot. First, I questioned why you were in shotgun on a 4th-and-1 play to basically for your playoff live and your season live. One, why would you do that? Lobster, it was crab legs. Talking about Jameis Winston's cardiac velocity, but it was crab legs. I think he was at Joe's Crab Shack. So, where was I? Yes, the Colts game. My question: why you were in shotgun? You called a timeout, think about things, and then you come back out and you go in shotgun again. But not only this time are you in shotgun, not your one back JT, not your Jonathan Taylor, not your two back Moss, but your third string back is in the game, and you call a real route for your quarterback. I mean, for your running back coming out the backfield to get a 1 yard first down. One, you should have put JT in the game. You already called a timeout, so he's gotten his little break. You can put him back in and run his ass right up the middle, right up the A gap to get that 1 yard. You could have Minshewed. You could have put him under the center and pushed forward and got the 1 yard. You could have ran that play. By the way, Michigan ran that play for their 4th down conversion with Blake Corum against Alabama. We ran the same play. What was the other? There were so many things you could have done there. You know what I mean? Yeah, the pass wasn't great. You get your hand on it, you should catch it. But I feel that if your third running back is not in the game, that play could be a little more successful. Even Moss is a better pass catcher at the backfield. Jonathan Taylor was that. You could have ran the ball. Run the ball. I know Jeff Saturday sitting up in the booth like, oh my God, I can't believe how they didn't run the ball. So, but anyway, that put him out. Houston stayed in. Stroud's probably going to be the offensive rookie of the year. Exciting year for him. Exciting year for D'Amico Ryans. I know it was tough for Stroud watching his Buckeyes get massacred by Michigan once again, 3 straight. And he was part of that. And then to turn around and watch him win the national championship. And then on top of that, have to throw touchdowns in the NFL to a Michigan receiver. It's great. We love it. So, but good year for them. Let's see what else was good. Steelers had an opportunity to get in with the win or a loss where certain things happened, so they just went ahead and took on Bears. Won against Baltimore, swept them. They're in another 17th season for Mike Tomlin. Let's see what else happened. That was exciting. Cowboys won, setting up a good matchup. Eagles are limping in. KC's limping in. Jacksonville looked hot during the season, but once again fizzles out at the end. Cannot get it done. Tennessee, a lot of turnover. Coaching changes. of NFL. Tennessee fires Mike Vrabel, which opens up a lot of rumors. We are still waiting on the decision of Bill Belichick and New England Patriots. With Vrabel being available now, it could be Bill Belichick can go to the general manager's position. Vrabel comes in as the coach. You keep that New England mind state intact. He gets an opportunity to really get in and coach a team. So you'll see how that goes. And then that lights up the whole coaching carousel going on in the NFL, which already has positions open. And now you add another one with Seattle, them splitting ways with Pete Carroll. So it's going to be pretty exciting. There's a lot going on. You got the drive going up. You already have the Raiders job open. You have the Chargers job open. Atlanta's job is open. So, like I said, we're still waiting to see what's going on with the Patriots and see how that goes. So, a lot of things going on for the coaching world in the NFL. What else do I have over here for that particular stuff? Talk about the coach. The coach is out. Bears again get the first pick. They have a lot to deal with. Looking for a new coach. Looking for a new. Are they looking for a new coach? No, not looking for a new coach. Looking for new coach. Because I know the Harbaugh conversation. Let's see what else. Then do they keep the number one pick, or they use it on something else? Do they make package deal to get rid of Justin Fields and blah 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 blah. But whatever, Justin Fields, and then go for Caleb Williams, maybe Drake May. Do they will and deal? I mentioned earlier, Harbaugh's name is mentioned in that. Do they pick up Harbaugh, and then Harbaugh makes wills and deals and gets his guy, coming out with J.J. McCarthy? Why not? Why not turn the world upside down? Do you trade it away, move back down? You believe in Justin Fields? There's a lot of things you got going on there in Chi-Town. Let's see. What else do I have really to pick on? The Bill Belichick, I know we were saying that. We're waiting on him to make a decision with the New England Patriots, but you got to look at it. It's time. He gets his respect. I feel that he should be able to walk out when he's ready. Or not almost when he's ready, but he should be able to walk out without being forced out or just anything like that. 6 championships. That's a lot to say, but I understand that you've looked pretty bad. You still have that old school mentality type thing. But wasn't the biggest fan of New England. I know Tom Brady got good cheers from me because he's a Michigan man. But other than that, But we'll see what goes on with that. I know we mentioned the Vrabel situation, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the coaches, a lot of jobs open, a lot of opportunities out there for a lot of coaches to do. My question is, how many of these jobs are going to get filled by black head coaches? I know a lot of these individuals are going to get interviews, but the rule says you just have to interview, not hire them. What kind of games are the Davises going to play? Pierce should be clearly the person stepping into that job. He's earned it from the end of the year. So, but we'll see how they go. What else do we have with that? I don't think I have anything else with that. So I think it might be time to get into some game time action. Oh, here is the playoff. I'll switch. I'll make me little on this one. Here is our playoff bracket for this year's playoff run. I can see your 2 number 1 seeds, Baltimore and San Francisco, both taking buys, which means they get roughly about 2.5 weeks off in between games. A lot of time for guys to heal up, to get some nicks and bruises taken care of, where they can push off into the postseason. As you can see, there are good matchups. Obviously, all of our picks are going to be these wild card games because there's no college games going on because Michigan won it all, and you can't do nothing. But now we hit that recruiting, Cheryl. So we're drinking out of our Pacers cup today. Pacers are playing tonight. Game without Tyrese Halliburton. So we'll see how that goes. So here you go. See the playoff bracket. Couple interesting matchups. We're going to talk about them here in a few seconds. But so you can see how the breakdown goes for the playoff structure. So we move on to the first game of our Blase Scoop. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. The first game for our matchup of Wild Card Weekend. It is exciting that they have added another wild card a couple years ago. It does make it for more teams and more playoff atmosphere. So it's pretty cool. With that, you get to have football. Looks like we're going to have football for 3 days of wild card action. So these first 2 games are Saturday games. So you got Cleveland out of the AFC North going to Houston, who won the AFC South on that very last weekend with the win over ooh, that's interesting. Michigan basketball suspends Doug McDaniel for the next 6 road games. Will be active for home games. Oh, so what did he do on the road? Looks like I'm gonna have to go fishing into that one, see what this cat did. But anyway, so we got our first game up. Like I said, Houston won that last season game here in Indianapolis. Jacksonville blowing the game against Tennessee, which gave Houston the AFC South. Congratulations, D'Amico Ryans, and all of that staff over there. Remarkable what he's done in a year, getting these guys to the playoff. I think Stroud is developing way faster than expected. Houston's going to be a thorn in Indianapolis' side for the next few years. I think these 2 young quarterbacks, this division, except for Tennessee, has good young quarterbacks. And it should be, if Edwards can stay healthy here, learn how to slide, I think him, Stroud, and down there in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, will be quality quarterbacks in this division. It'll be a very exciting division to watch. We'll just see what Tennessee does with their quarterback and coach situation. But this game is going to be, I think it's going to be a really good game. Quarterback off the street, but Joe Flacco is looking pretty good. He's a veteran. Managed done over this past few games, these last games since their quarterback's gone down. Their defense has controlled the narrative of their games, which keeps them in game. Houston's explosive on offense, but this is going to be a playoff game. A lot of experience on the other side. I like the youth exuberance or things of that nature, but I'm going to have to go with Cleveland on this one. Looks like this looks like a pretty good split down the middle for our network picks on this particular game. But I like Cleveland in this one. I think this is a playoff game. The atmosphere changed the same way in basketball. You know, you look good through the regular season, but once that playoff, things get a little tighter, so to speak. The sphincter sphinxes up a little bit. So I like Cleveland and in this particular contest moving forward. Our next Saturday game is going to be an exciting one, man. We got Patrick Mahomes and the Miami Dolphins. This is going to be a really, really, really good one. So we'll see. Kansas City has been struggling this season with, I think, drops. I think I saw a stat. They have more drops than touchdowns over the season, so that's not good. Patrick Mahomes is clearly frustrated. The defense have been playing well, keeping them in opportunities for them to be able to win. But Patrick and Kelsey can't do it by themselves. One clear factor here is the struggles on offense. I don't believe in coincidences that Barry Enemy is gone and that they struggle with their offensive production. So we'll see how that goes. Miami is coming in here banged up. So I mean they're really banged up. So we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be as high of a scoring game as most people are thinking it's going to be. I actually like Kansas City on this one. I do. For some reason, I feel that the experience of it. I, I think Tua has not shown us what his traits are, but there's a good opportunity that this might be the new Tua. So that 0.00% increase in efficiency in his helmet seems to be doing well. But I'm looking at this game with all of the defensive injuries for Miami. I like Patrick Mahomes to move forward in the next round of the playoffs. These are Sunday games. I'm going to tell you right now, I am the only person who picked the Steelers to win this game. Now, obviously, you knew I was going to be the only person to pick the Steelers in this game. Like, I was looking at the picks, and I'm like, man, who the hell are they playing that they picked, that everybody picked? Oh, they're playing my Steelers. But you know how I am. I fully expect, not going to lie, I fully expect this not to be a very positive game for my Steelers. I do expect. I think they're going to come out. They're going to get good effort. Mason Rudolph is going to come out and do his thing. Is going to try to do his thing. He's going to correct Arrowhead in January. Yes, he is going to. He's basically what Mason is doing. He's basically auditioning a little bit more to make a quarterback controversy when it comes to the offseason with Pickens. You know what I mean? He can play. He could have played last week. But the turnaround in offensive production with the deep ball down the field, so it's going to be interesting to see how things work out in the quarterback room after this game and then in the offseason with Tomlin and Rudolph and Pittick. I think Trubisky needs to be elsewhere, but that's here nor there. I'm looking at the same thing. If you're looking at it and wondering why the Buffalo guy has a yellow pants, I have no idea. No clue. It just came out that way. But obviously, most people pick the Bills on this one. I'm riding with who I ride or die with. I'll just take that loss in the standings. That was my Quinn Buckner fake laugh. It was great. So our next Saturday game, we got one that's really talked about. Yes, Trubisky needs to be on his couch. This game is really talked about. You got the trending up, hot, figuring out Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love. First playoff game for him in Green Bay as the starter. Dallas Cowboys. Well, the game's not in Green Bay, but you know what I mean. Dallas Cowboys coming into this thing at 12-5, winning in the East, feeling pretty good. Looking like one of the top three teams in the NFC East, 6 in the NFL. The Eagles, their enemies is looking pretty bad. They're looking on the up street. Dak has 9 interceptions on the year. We all picked him to have more than 10. Looking good for the Cowboys, but here's where we get to the part that where we're used to with the Cowboys, a playoff game. I personally think that they'll get past this one. After this one is where it's going to get dicey for the Cowboys. But this one, I feel that this one's going to be theirs. First half, it's probably going to be a little bit more competitive. Cowboy fans are going to want. But I feel after halftime, probably partway through the third quarter, they're going to start to establish themselves as a experienced playoff team. And with all the youth and the inexperience on Green Bay, I like the Cowboys in this matchup here. Let's see. Keep moving forward. That brings us to the second game on Sunday. This one has so many storylines involved in it, but the main one that everybody wants to talk about, one, I'm surprised LA even got to this point. Like at the beginning of the year, I was thinking like, man, Aaron Donald should have retired. He didn't have to put up with this, but they just stay steady. People started to get healthy. Cooper Kupp and Stafford started to figure it out. But the main storyline here is the exchange of quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Stafford was in Detroit forever. Goff was in LA forever. Both of them have qualities, but never really could get over the playoff hump. A couple years ago, they made the exchange, the trade. Goff comes here. He has some of his best years of his career. Stafford goes to LA. They win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So this is Stafford's first game back in Detroit. And this is going to be a really good game. You're playing swaps. You're going to see a lot of emotion with both of these quarterbacks coming in to do to their team what they thought that they couldn't do for them themselves. So I think it's going really good. The difference in this game, I know they have Aaron Donald, but the difference in this game is going to be the defense. The Lions' defense, I think, is a little better. I know they kind of put it later on in the season, getting into the playoff, but I think they're going to be focused. They're going to be ready to go. I like the Lions in this matchup. Aiden Hutchinson, go blue. What is our next game? Our last game of the last game of Wild Card Weekend takes us to Tampa Bay. Here we go. Tampa Bay hosting a playoff game with Baker Mayfield. Bringing in a very hobbled, limped-in, terrible-looking Philadelphia hangover after the loss of the Super Bowl type team. I hope they can get it together and try to pull it in. This Tampa Bay team, Baker Mayfield, seems to always find himself in a situation where he's just grit and his perseverance puts him in positions to be able to make moves or good plays or become what we thought he might have an opportunity to become. This Philadelphia team is struggling. There's a lot going on here. Is Jalen hurt? Is he not hurt? What's going on with the run game? Why we can't get the passing going on? The defense is being put in bad positions because the offense is not taking care of business. So I don't know. This game here was was the hardest game for me to pick. Like, I think that Tampa Bay, and 100%, I think Tampa Bay can win this game. I really do think they can, because Baker Mayfield is a type of quarterback who has opportunities where his skill set that he can be difficult for this Eagles defense to contain, but it's still Baker Mayfield, and this Tampa Bay doesn't have the talent on both sides of the ball that the Eagles has. Just the Eagles' talent has not been talented. So this was hard for me to pick, but I did go with the Eagles just because of my boy. That is it. That is the only reason why. So hopefully they can pull it through and get through it. Let's see. So that was our last game of the week. You know what? I need to switch back to that one because I need to put up our network standings. As you can see, your boy is still in the lead. He has been hanging tough. That lead has shrunken a little bit. I have just a 2-point lead on the Wizard. Greg is over with our wrestling show, Super Kicking It with Steven and Greg. I know things are getting hot, hot, hot in the wrestling world right now. So if you're into that shebang, go over and check those guys out. Steven will keep you on update on all that thing is hot. WWE, AEW, all the backstages and things like that. So check those out. But here it is. This is what it is. I got a 10-point lead on the Lion. He's staying there. See, and we have a small battle at the back end. But yeah, so our games are getting our pool of games are getting smaller. So these game picks are going to be critical coming up towards the end. So yeah, so I'll take this down and I'll say, well, awesome. There you have. That was what a week of shows. That's really all I got for this week when it comes to football. I've been checking my phone. I think if we haven't heard anything about Saban this far, I don't think we're going to hear it tonight. So we'll be on, not Saban, Pacers up 91-84, Bill Belichick. So we'll figure out, looks like we'll be on Belichick watch tomorrow to see what happens there in New England. But yeah, what an exciting week. What a upcoming exciting week of football. Make sure you get out and check them out. Should be some exciting games. See, do I have anything else? I do not. So what am I going to do? I think I'm going to do this right here. Bring this back. I want you to get acquainted with some of our friends. You know what? Go blue. That's all I got for you. I think, you know what? While you're doing that, I'm going to take this down. While you're still here, Ben, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be real nice just for you. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. And I'm going to give you this, buddy. Matter of fact, I'm going to take me out. Take that. Oh, just another tidbit when it comes to that. I meant to say it earlier. The CFP era, the 4 playoff team era. Just want to let you know the Big Ten brought it in, and the Big Ten is taking it out. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. But anyway, I'm going back to what I was trying to do before my buddy Big Ben come on in. He said, "That's a good one. That's a good one." That'd be some OJ shit. Still something that's already yours. All right, so here we go. Let's do this. I think I'm going big. I'm going big. There we go. So I want you to get acquainted with our friends, and our friends can get acquainted with you. These are friends of the network, good people. I want you to be good people with them. You got Elite Performance. You have Checkered Life Customs. You can bet that. Doc Sports Picks, My Bookie, The Fighter's Friend, The One's Kitchen, Inner Beast Sportswear, Southern Comeback Productions, Southern Indiana Combat Productions. They're working on the next group of fights coming up in May, I think it is. And deals, discounts, and store deals, discount store, and more. Check out all of our good friends. And if you're looking for some more awesome sports content, once you jump over to the YouTube page and check out some of our syndicated shows here and out. I know what they got owners meetings coming up for baseball, so I'm pretty sure you're gonna see those baseball guys up here pretty soon. State of Basketball will be returning after All-Star break here in Indiana this year. So when that pops up in State of Basketball, we're returning, doing little basketball excerpts and conversations. Let's discuss it. So we'll check those out. And there you have it for episode, what is this? Season 5, episode 17, Dukes of Football. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been another fun season of college football. That part of football is over, but we still have roughly about 4 weeks left of NFL football. One other football announcement that we haven't been on that was announced that we haven't been on to talk about, but we'll chit-chat a little bit about it next week. The UFL, what is it? United Football League. The merger of the XFL and the CFL. So it should be some exciting spring football. So if you're a football junkie, that should be something coming up for, because I didn't really enjoy the arena football all that much. So we'll see how this goes. I definitely don't like the Canadian Football League. This is that one. So there you have it. That's all I got. This is your man's TheOne, BW Sports, Dukes of Football. I am out. I will get up at ya. Holla.